When it comes to Georgia weather, this year has been a roller coaster for producers in the state. As agricultural climatologist Pam Knox says, the growing season started off with plenty of moisture, but quickly shifted to dry drought conditions later in the year.
At the beginning of the year, it was really quite wet and cloudy. In fact, the cloud cover really hurt some of the crops like pecans. And the wet conditions also made all the plants think that, it was going to be a great season. And then we hit mid-August and it stopped raining, and so it was dry. We had a few incidents of storms that came through and dropped a bunch of rain, but in between it was dry and sunny like it is today.
According to Knox, that sudden shift to almost no rain came at one of the worst possible times, just as many producers were trying to finish out their growing seasons and begin harvesting.
That drought has been really at a critical time for people who are trying to get their peanuts in or get the pecans finished because they're not getting any water. They've gotten a little bit, most of it's been in North Georgia, not so much in South Georgia, and so the drought is the worst down there. And unfortunately, we're going to probably have a little bit of rain here and there over the next couple months, but mostly it looks like it's going to be fairly dry.
Knox says that a major reason behind those dry conditions can be attributed to a quiet tropical season, which is responsible for a lot of the late summer, early fall moisture the state's crops need.
One of the big culprits of the drought this fall has been the lack of tropical activity in the southeast. Almost every year we get some tropical storm that comes over Georgia. And this year there was nothing in the Gulf of Mexico except one little storm way in the south. And usually about 30% of our rain in the summer months, especially during the peak hurricane season, which is late August, September, early October, we didn't get any of that. And so we were especially dry, and I think that's really the main contributor to the drought that we've seen this fall. And that has happened before. We've had droughts that have occurred in the fall for the same reason. We just don't get any tropical rainfall.
And looking ahead, Knox says that producers might want to brace for more of the same, as early forecasts are pointing to more dry and warmer weather heading into 2026, creating new challenges once spring planting arrives.
The early predictions for this winter are that we're likely to be drier than usual. That means that it could be easier to get into the fields in spring, but there may not be as much moisture. And the potential for an early season drought goes up if we don't recharge the soil moisture over the winter. So that's one concern. Temperature is another concern. If we go into this La Nina and it keeps us warmer than usual over the winter, that will affect the number of chill hours for fruit production. It will also mean that there's more overwintering of pests and diseases, which means that farmers are going to have to think about how they're going to deal with that once we hit spring again. Are you going to have to put extra treatments on early next year? And that's something that farmers have to keep in mind.
Reporting in Watkinsville for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.